In this video, we will discuss point groups. If you would like to follow along with the video, please open the file 0307 pointgroups.dwg located in the training folder as discussed in the Working with this Dataset video. Point groups are simply a filter of points that share common characteristics. Some examples of point groups are to perform specific tasks, such as creating break lines that will eventually be used to create a surface, override a set of points' default layers, override a set of points' default point style or label style, create a point group that contains ground points, allowing easier surface management. You can create point groups based on point properties, such as raw or full description, a set of point numbers, name, elevation, as well as many other characteristics. Point groups are located in the Toolspace Prospector tab, Point Groups Collection. I'll expand this collection right now. First thing you notice is that there are 4 point groups in this file. So it makes sense to store your point groups in your drawing template, so when you create a new file, you will have access to all the default point groups. The All Points point groups is always in the drawing and will contain all your points. Notice that I have one called points-eg already in the file, and notice the little icon next to it here. This icon is telling you that this point group is out of date, which means that since you've added points to the drawing, this point group needs to be updated. To update it, simply right-click on the point group and choose Update from the shortcut menu. Those points will now appear in this points-eg point group. Before we continue on, let's create a No Display point group. This will allow us to filter out whatever points we want in the drawing. To create a new point group, right-click on Point Groups and choose New. We'll give it a name called No Display, and I'll set my default styles to None. What I also want to do is I want to include all my points, because the purpose of this point group is to turn the display of points off completely. I'll go to the Include tab, and there's an option here to include all points. I'll toggle that on, and then what I need to do is go to the Overrides tab and override any of the styles or layers to have a style and label style of None. I'll click OK, and because point groups have a priority, and this was the last one created, all my points disappear. To change the priority of a point group, simply right-click on the Point Groups collection and go to Properties. Notice that No Display is up top. If I want to put all points back to the top here, I would simply bring this to the top. However, what I want to do is I actually want to add in a point group that I already have previously created called For Break Line Creation. What this point group allows me to do is minimize the display of points only based on a description that, let's say, I need to create line work for break lines for a surface. I'll click OK, and right now nothing is displayed because this point group does not have any raw codes that match the codes that are in the drawing. I'll right-click on this point group and choose Properties. Now I need to go to the Raw Description Matching tab, and if I do happen to have a description that was already based on a description key, I could just toggle it on here. Let's say I want to create lake break lines. I'll toggle that on, and I could click OK here. However, let's say I do not have the raw description based on the description key set. You can still type it in. In fact, you can type in multiple descriptions. I could type a comma in to separate them, and let's say type in a code that maybe wasn't part of my description key set just so I could see it. So let's say ERG for edge of road gravel. If let's say a surveyor happened to use that description. Put the asterisk in there to also allow it to grab any points matching ERG and then any text after the ERG. If you want, you can go to the point list here to see what points will actually be added in here. I'll click OK, do a regen all, and notice how only those points that match that description appear. Again, the No Display point group is allowing this filtering to occur because it's the next one in the priority list. Now I could go through and using the Point Object Transparent command, I could create line work to use for surface creation. Let's say I have a set of points that I want to select, but I don't really care about the description. It's just a bunch of points I would like to select to make a point group out of. First, let's go ahead and change the priority list here, and I'll put all my points back to the top of the list and click OK. All my points appear. And let's say I'm just working in this area of the drawing and I just want to see just these points. So I'm going to right-click on Point Groups, Create New, and just call this one Working PG. What I can do now is go to the Include tab and click on With Numbers Matching and make a selection set in the drawing. Also note you can actually type in a set of numbers. So if you happen to know, let's say the crew used a set of point numbers for that day, you could just type in those point numbers as well. I'll select this button here and just make a selection set of points that I want to work with. Press enter, and those are all the points. Click OK. Now, because I moved all points on the top of the list, it is actually still above the No Display Point Group. So I can simply right-click on Point Groups, go to Properties, and put No Display right below the Working PG point group. Now I'm working with just those points, and I can do whatever kind of editing or point manipulation I need to do. This concludes this video discussing point groups.